Hi everyone, welcome to the Love, Soulmates and Life podcast. It's a podcast that Pastor Ray and I just started based on the book Love, Soulmates and Life that we published this February 2023. And there's some lessons, things that we've learned from the time that we were single, that we dated, got into courtship, got engaged, and then now we're married and we have kids. A lot of things we've learned along the way that have inspired the writing of the new book Love, Soulmates and Life. And we're so excited to be sharing with you these things that we've gone through, these things that we've learned, so that they can be keys and solutions to whatever it is that you're going through. So it applies to you if you're single, if you're dating, you're in courtship, you're engaged, you're married, or whatever, the situation is complicated, but this podcast will really be of benefit to you. So make sure you subscribe to our channel on Facebook, on YouTube, and you can make sure that you don't miss out on the things that we're going to be sharing on every episode of Love, Soulmates and Life.
Right, I'm Pastor Lou, and we've been married for 11 years.
Amen.
So thank you so much, Apostle, for allowing God to use you to write the book. We've been getting a lot of responses and feedback from people who have read the book. I've also read the book, and it's been such a blessing to me as an individual and even to our marriage as a whole. Okay, so a lot of people who read this book have seen that every chapter is introduced by a different story, and so people have been asking me, are these stories about you? And the answer is not all of them.
Yes,
is it?
So to those who don't have the book as yet, please make sure you order. You can order on our website. You can make a request on all of our platforms, social media platforms, and then you can make contact. Say, hey, please get a copy to me as soon as possible, so that I can also understand what you guys are talking about. So each chapter starts off with a short story that we're hoping to make into short videos and short films.
Right.
Then it develops from a short story to a discussion, and from the discussion to a lesson, and from the lesson to a journal section where you can journalize what your takeaway is from that particular chapter as an individual and even as a couple. So the stories that you find in the book, most of them are based on our encounters and our experiences as a couple, because we've been together for over 10 years, and that's a milestone. These days, that's a long time.
Right.
And we thank God for that. But most of them are based on our encounters and our experiences. And others are based on what we've encountered in our marriage ministry and how we've helped other couples. This couple, that couple, and we've just collected and summarized some of those stories that are key to what we believe we've been asked to our readers and to our audience.
Right.
Yeah.
So even though some of the stories do not apply to us necessarily, they are not about us, but we do apply all the lessons from the stories in our own marriage.
Yes.
They are very good lessons.
So what's important about the stories is that it's about making the lessons practical, making the lessons relatable. Because one of the things the Holy Spirit was saying to me is that if you just keep on just making discussions and lessons, sometimes we won't get it. So the purpose of the stories is to make the conversation or the lesson or the topic, the subject matter a bit more relatable.
Right.
So, this actually happens. Oh, so there's a character like this and there's a character like that.
Yes.
So please pray for us so that we'll be able to make short films based on Love, Soulmates and Life. I look forward to that as well. Okay, so let's go ahead.
Yes, but why the title Love, Soulmates and Life? What made you choose the topic in particular?
Yeah. As a Christian, the Bible says to us that God so loved the world.
Mm-hmm.
So the whole story of us as a family is based on love. And even in each and every one of us, you might be watching online, there's just this innate automatic desire to just want to love or to be loved. So love is a key component in our lives, in our existence. And number two, and next to love, then the question is who to love. And that's where we get the soulmates part.
Right.
So the soulmates part talks about the relationship to someone. And now the question is, where this one use the word soulmates, I use it deliberately. Because there are people who believe in soulmates, and then there are other people who don't believe in soulmates.
Right.
There are people who believe that, there's that one person for everyone, and then the people that are like, no, there's no one person for everyone, it's about compatibility and so forth. So the soulmates part, addresses that part to say, okay, now that we have all acknowledged that we all want to love or be loved, and the second part now is, what about the person we love who will love us? Then the third part is life. And one reason why it's then called Love, Soulmates and Life is that at the end of the day, you can't avoid life. And what life there talks about the seasons of life, the ups and downs of life.
Right.
So love cannot override the realities of life. Hence now the title, Love, Soulmates, and Life.
That is profound. That is powerful.
Thank you.
Okay, so today we are looking at the first chapter, which is the Love Island chapter. It is about a couple who just basically isolated themselves because their love was enough, right? It was enough for them, but then they found themselves in trouble and needed help from their friends and family. So chapter 1 is basically about the importance of having a support system as a couple or as a married couple, right? So I want to know, or everybody wants to know, how bad is it? How bad is it, or how important is it to have a support system in your relationship?
So one of the things I did, as I was preparing for this book and writing and researching on it, is that I began to investigate what the reasons why marriages divorce. As you know, the divorce rate is now going above 50% both in the world and even in church. So now why are people divorcing? Why is it almost over half of the marriages are ending in divorce? Is it because, number one, people don't love each other? I'm asking you to you watching online. If it's a quick question, why do people divorce? If you know someone who's divorced, why do they divorce?
Infidelity?
Yes. Some people will say infidelity. Some people will say, they fell out of love. Some people will say, financial reasons. Some people will say, irreconcilable differences. Yeah. But one of the things I began to notice as I was researching on the divorce rate, I began to notice that the main problem was actually an absence of support. It was a lack of support. And the chapter Love Island is intentionally, deliberately titled Love Island to imply that, one of the most common rookie mistakes of a young couple is that the moment they get into a relationship, the moment they get married, the first thing they're thinking of is, all we need is us. It's us against the world. It's us by ourselves. And our love is enough and our love is sufficient. But the reality is that, no, it's not. You're going to need the help of friends. You're going to need the help of family. You're going to need the support from pastors and counselors. You're going to need people around you. It's like what the African proverb says. It says that it takes a village to raise a child.
Yes.
And so in this instance, it takes a community to support a successful marriage. I hope that makes sense. So one of the rookie mistakes that we need to avoid as couples is we need to avoid this love island being a place in the zone that we get into and we separate ourselves and we isolate ourselves from the rest of the world. Because one day we're going to realize, we're not, and as an island, we're not self-sustainable. We're going to need help from this person, we're going to need help from that person, we're going to need support from this person, we're going to need support from that person.
Right.
So the first chapter is meant to address that problem, that common problem. You might be watching online and maybe you're deeply and you're madly and you're crazy in love. And you're like, really, it's Bonnie and Clyde. No.
It's just about me and you.
You're going to need help from people. And so it's important that you maintain support systems so that you don't get isolated. As if we're driving to the studio, one of the things the Holy Spirit was just mentioning is that the devil uses the divide and conquer strategy. He uses the divide and conquer. And so a lot of marriages that end up in divorce is because the enemy took them apart. He isolated their cluster. Yeah. He divides them from the family, he divides them from church, he divides them from friends, he divides them from support systems, he isolates them, and then he begins to attack them. He begins to bombard them when they're by themselves. So it's important that we need support systems.
We do, and I know that to be true. We've been married for 11 years now, and we do have support systems. That's why we are here now, right? Yeah. Okay, so in the book, looking at the first chapter still, there's a question that you pose. You say, what do you do when you are split up and battling against each other? It is situations like this that make you realize that love cannot exist in a vacuum. The question then is, when it comes to support systems, should couples have the same support systems, or it's okay for me to have my own support systems and to have yours? How does it work?
So I like the first part that you say that, there will be time in a marriage in which both of you don't want to talk to each other. Right. There will be those times. And one of the reasons why we need support systems is because there's a season in which maybe there are the people that are against you, and then there will be a season in every marriage in which you guys are just a big fight, you don't want to talk to each other. One person is sleeping facing that direction, the other person is sleeping facing that direction, the other person is sitting on the edge of the couch, facing that edge. And it's in those seasons that you need other people to come in and say, hey, you guys, don't act like that, don't do that. There's something more important than that. Don't let this minor problem, this whatever, whether it's minor or problem or major, don't let that problem get in between you. You have so much more you can do together. And that's the reason why you need support systems. But just like you mentioned, now the question then becomes, do you need to have the same support systems?
Yes.
I believe yes. So whilst you might have individual, but you need support systems for the both of you, people that are for the both of you. So that at least they understand both sides of the coin. They understand you, they understand me, they understand him, they understand her, and then they will come and say, hey, you guys don't do that. So I would advocate for support systems that are for the partnership, that are for the marriage. Because one of the ways that the devil does is that he can bring a support system, someone who supports the wife, but doesn't support the husband. Someone who supports the husband, but doesn't support the wife. And so that's how division can come in. So that person supports their friend or their sibling, but they don't support the union.
Yes.
So you then need support systems that support, endorse, and are there for the union, for the both of you together.
Powerful.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Yes. So there it is, lessons from Love Soulmates in Life, Chapter 1. If there is anything else that you need to ask or know about marriage from the first chapter, please do send us a message, and then we will address the question in our next episode.
Thank you very much for taking the time to watch this podcast. We never want to close with our pastors. We never want to close with I just praying for you. We don't know what your situation is. You might be single, you might be married, you might be divorced. Whatever situation that you're in, we're hoping that this podcast and the very first episode is really been a blessing to you. We've gotten a lot of takeaways.
Right.
So we just want to pray for you. If we just come in agreement with you, just pray with us. Father, we thank you for every person who's watching the podcast. We pray for them regarding whatever situation that they're in. And we're praying that may they understand that they are not an island. Even if they are single, they are not an island. Even that they're in a relationship, they're not an island. If they're married, they're not an island. Even divorced, you are not an island. There are support systems that are around you. Reach out to people that are around you, and may God begin to help you as you're reaching out to those people to begin to get the support that you need, to begin to get the help that you need. And may you be better than you were before. Thank you very much for watching this podcast, and thank you for praying with us. We have so many more episodes that are going to come. So make sure you subscribe, make sure you follow, and make sure you share with someone that you know who needs to benefit, who stands to benefit from the things that I will share from this podcast. Thank you.
Thank you. God bless you.